Hey, this is Darren from Property Prosperity. I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat to you about real estate agents. I know a lot of people sometimes wonder when they're selling their house whether the agent is acting for them, really. So, and I don't know whether you actually thought about it. Is the agent actually working for me or are they working for somebody else? By law, the agent's always meant to act in your best behalf because at the end of the day, you're paying a commission, you're paying them money, and they can really only act for one person at a time, and that person should be you. And if they're not going to be you, who else could it be? So today I thought I'd have a bit of a chat to you about, who else could the agent be working on behalf of if it's not you? I know a lot of people might be thinking, surely they're always acting on my best behalf. So the reason this sparked this interest, I thought, is because I was chatting to someone the other day, and they've got their property on the market. And they've actually got their property on the market, and the way they chose their real estate agent was they actually found a property for sale, and they decided they really liked the property and they wanted to buy it, but the situation was they hadn't even put their property on the market yet, so let alone actually sold it. And so the agent said to them, hey, tell you what, I can go back to the owner and see whether they're willing to sign a contract subject to you selling your property first. And if that's the case, then what I can do, I can come and help you sell the property, and then you can come and buy this property once your house is sold. Which I know, really, that seems like a really good idea. And if you found the house of your dreams and you really want to go ahead with it, you can see why anyone would jump at that opportunity. My concern for that is the agent then is acting on behalf of you to sell your property, but they're also acting on behalf of the seller, or in their case, you're the buyer. And so the thing is, you can never act for two people. So they can't act on behalf of the seller and the buyer because there's going to be a conflict always there. So, and you can imagine a situation for the agent, they're actually also acting in their own interest as well. So they, as well as being a double agent, they might even be a triple agent. So, because at the end of the day, they've really got to look out for themselves. Agents have bills to pay just like anybody else. Hey guys, thanks for joining. I can see a whole heap of people joining, so thanks for joining. And if you like what I had to say, click on the like button. I really appreciate it. Even if you don't like what I had to say, still click on the like button because I really appreciate it. And if you know someone that's selling their house or thinking about choosing an agent, they're not really sure, how to go about it, and maybe they'd find this useful, and then maybe click on the share button. I really appreciate that too. So the scenario is a lot of people go along to people and sort of say, hey, well, that's great. I'm thinking about selling my house. I haven't sold it yet, but I found the property that I really like. And so I'll just get the agent that's selling the property to me to get me to help me sell the property as well. The issue with that is the agent then is acting on two people's behalf. They're acting on the person that's selling you the property as well as for you, and as well as the fact that it becomes a bit more of a bigger deal for the agent then, because obviously if they don't sell your property, they don't sell the other property. That means they list out on two properties they're going to sell. And obviously the thing to remember is the agents only earn any money when they sell the property. So it becomes a really big deal from a lot of onus on the agent then to make sure they sell your property, because then they'll be able to sell the first property as well. So why that's important? Because obviously from the agent's perspective, they really need your property sold. So the question then is, are they maybe, obviously we hope that all the agents are ethical, but then even if they are ethical, there's still going to be a lot of pressure on them trying to get you to sell your property. And so there's a good chance they may want you to drop the price you're going to sell the property for. Or maybe the other thing too is because they feel a little bit inclined to know that it's really important they sell the property, you sell the property through them, they might be inclined to drop their commission, they might be inclined to not charge you any money for marketing. And these things obviously are going to have an effect on the motivation of the agent to try and get you the top price. If they're not going to spend any money on marketing, they're not going to get as high a commission as they otherwise would. They're going to lack a bit of interest to try and get you the best price you possibly could. And likewise, on the flip side, they're obviously going to be a lot more motivated to try and get you to accept any offer they possibly can. So you can sort of see why it'd be so dangerous to have an agent representing you as well as the property you're selling, because they're always, at the end of the day, they're going to have a lot more relationship with the original person they signed up to sell their property than they would be for you, because you're really just the guy that's coming in at the end. So I really think it's really dangerous for people. So my advice to you is make sure your agent is working on your best behalf and is only working for you. And if that's the case, then my advice to you is just make sure that they're not working for anybody else. So, and hence make sure they're not a double agent. So my advice to you is if you are finding a property that you want to, you need to sell your property before you can buy another property, make sure you definitely don't go with the same agent that's selling you the property, because it's going to create that conflict of interest. Or even better, if you've got the opportunity, just hold off on buying the second property until you've sold your property first. So I would probably, because the cool thing about that, it makes the process a whole less stressful. Because the thing you're going to find, if you've signed up to buy a property subject to the sale of your property, even if the agent isn't putting pressure on you to sell your property, because you don't want to miss out on the property you really like, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to feel pretty desperate to sell your property as quickly as possible. And when we're selling, that could be $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 cheaper. You're going to sell your property just because you really don't want to miss out on the property you really love. So my advice, you don't put yourself in that position where you have to sell at a significant discount. Because the other thing to remember too is when you're buying a property, if you're buying it subject to the sale of your house, whoever's selling it to you, only really going to sell it to you if you're buying it at a premium compared to everybody else. If there's someone else there that's cash unconditional, they're obviously always going to sell it to you at a discount. So really, you're always going to be behind if you're buying subject to the sale of your house, because firstly, you're going to have pressure on to sell your house at a bit of a discount so you don't miss out on the property you really love. And then secondly, quite often you're going to pay too much for the property that you're buying because you have to pay a premium to be able to put in those sort of conditions. So, it might be you sell at a discount of $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 cheaper, but you also might pay another $50,000 more to buy the property because it is subject to the sale of the house. So if you look at that real numbers, that could be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars more you end up paying for that property than if you'd have just sold your property first and then gone cash unconditional. So hopefully that's made sense. If you like what I had to say, click on the like button. If you haven't liked it, I'd still really appreciate if you click on the like button anyway. If you know someone's got this similar situation, click on the share button because I'm sure they'll appreciate it. And hopefully people don't make the same mistake as those people I talk to where they've got the agent acting on their behalf but also the property their buyer's behalf, because it can only really work out in a bad way. So my advice to you is, definitely make sure the agent is working with your best efforts in mind, and don't get yourself in that trouble. So thanks for joining. If you've got a comment, I'd love to hear your comment in the comment box. If you've got something you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, put a comment in the comment box. I'd love to have a chat about anything to do with buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Bye for now.